had their applications denied based on a failure to show what is considered a proper cause. In states like New York, to carry a concealed weapon outside of the home, you need special permission to do that. And these men were arguing that's a violation of Second Amendment rights. So the court holds, here we go now, the court holds that New York's proper cause requirement to obtain a concealed carry license violates the Constitution.
Yep.
By preventing law-abiding citizens with ordinary self-defense needs from exercising their Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms in public for self-defense. That's the ruling 6-3. It'll affect states like New York and about 7 others that had similar restrictive rules.
This is a significant, big case. And I know we have Jonathan Turley, and I believe we have Shannon Bream with us. So we'll get them here in just a moment. Just let me set up one thing, and then we also have Andy McCarthy. This is really good. So it's 6-3. And one of the things that happened in this case, and Jonathan, maybe I'll go to you first if you're able, is that the gun rights activists, once they started down this road, they might have realized at some point, as I remember reading, that they might have actually hurt their cause here, because this decision it kind of, for the gun rights people, it kind of backfired. For people who were wanting people to have more self-defense rights, it seems that they have won in this Supreme Court case.
They have won, and it is an interesting point that you make. New York has been the gift that keeps on giving for gun rights advocates. They, like D.C. and Chicago, have lost major cases before the Supreme Court. This was a case that many of us rode on when it was in the lower courts. I thought that it would result as it did today, that this was a case that clearly was unconstitutional under the controlling authority of Heller. And what you have in jurisdictions like New York is a very strong gun control effort, but they often produce cases that, quite frankly, are welcomed by many gun rights advocates, because you can create, in their view, this was a bad case to make some good law, and they did so. This is a 6-3 decision. You have Justice Thomas looking at the history of the Second Amendment, looking at the holding in Heller, and saying that the answer is clear, that you cannot impose this burden on gun owners to be able to carry a concealed weapon.
Jonathan, stand by here. I know you and Andy McCarthy and Shannon Bream are reading through this, through the opinion right now. And Shannon, I want to go to you, but just to put a headline here, in a major ruling for gun rights, the Supreme Court has sided with these 2 gun owners in New York, saying that they're striking down, rather, the restrictive gun law in New York State. Shannon, to you, what do you read?
Yeah, what had happened is these 2 gun owners were looking for the opportunity to carry a concealed weapon. They had other licenses and other things that allowed them to carry their guns for specific reasons. But they said, I just want to be able to carry one. I think that that's my constitutional right. But in New York, you had to have a special showing. You had to have a reason to say that you had a justification for carrying a gun in a concealed way. Well, they said there shouldn't be those restrictions. If I'm a law-abiding citizen, I should be able to carry. So in striking down that New York law and essentially sending this case back down, here is what Justice Thomas, writing for the majority 6-3, says. He says the constitutional right to bear arms in public for self-defense is, quote, not a second-class right subject to an entirely different body of rules than the other Bill of Rights guarantees. And he's used this language before, talking about the fact that he thought that the Second Amendment was in some cases being treated as a second-class right. He goes on to say, we know of no other constitutional right that an individual may exercise only, excuse me, my computer here, only after demonstrating to government officials some special need. That is not how the First Amendment works when it comes to unpopular speech or the free exercise of religion. It is not how the Sixth Amendment works when it comes to a defendant's right to confront the witnesses against him. And it is not how the Second Amendment works when it comes to public carry for self-defense. So he says New York's proper cause requirement, or that this special showing that you have to carry a gun, violates the 14th Amendment in that it prevents law-abiding citizens with ordinary self-defense needs from exercising their rights to
stands for freedom, and they can't take that